goodness gracious. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. I
About
thought
time you told me?
for a minute I thought you were talking, but maybe
Okay.
you were
Okay.
just waiting for everyone to join, so I didn't want to bother. But it
No,
seems like
well,
your mic was not working.
I'm just talking and talking and talking.
Yeah, because that was very unusual because you don't turn on Zoom and you wait for everyone for so long.
I was showing my disclaimer and telling the whole story.
Oh
And
God. Yeah, no, we
okay.
didn't hear anything.
Sometimes I do get a warning that says your mic is not on. Today I didn't see the warning. Maybe I just moved it to the side and didn't pay attention to it.
Just to be sure, next time, just make sure that you ask before you make sure you ask if we are able to hear you.
Yeah, yeah, that
It's
was
gonna be a
ridiculous.
1 hour talk and nobody's hearing
Okay,
anything.
did anybody fall asleep then? All right,
No, you're good.
so,
You're good.
so I guess so. You should have seen the disclaimer. You didn't hear my story about this disclaimer. Uh, so that well, it's going to be in the recording anyway because I'm recording. I'm assuming that it recorded the section.
Yeah, you are, but I'm not sure if the
If the
audio is gonna
sound,
be.
yeah, I don't know if the sound picked it up. Okay, we'll see. Whatever. Anyway, so what I was saying was that I maintain my 6 charts in front of me at all times in one of my monitors. And the reason being is because I'm right in the middle of these charts. Let's say I'm right in the middle of 4 and 2, right in the middle, and all around me is traffic coming in every one direction. So I need to be aware of which wave is coming against me because I may be caught in the middle. So what happened to price today? Today we actually started yesterday. We had the breakdown of the 30-minute chart. So it started roughly at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It broke down, then it went through the day and whatever. Then we started Wednesday, 1900 hours, and then went all the way to zone 4, 100% retracement into it. By 3 o'clock in the morning, when I got to my computer, the minute I saw this, I placed my trade at 32.24. 32.24 was my first 3 contracts, and then later at 32.22, I think it was, I placed another 3 contracts, and then I wrote them down to support. Which the support, if you follow my mouse, notice what's going on with my mouse on the 1 hour chart. So as price came down, initially this was about 6 o'clock in the morning, it came to this green line, which coincides with roughly the line right here. Notice right here, this was at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I had this line, we had this green line here, and on top of that, I had this green line telling me, okay, we're coming down to support. So I took profits right there. I closed all contracts. I had 6 contracts, and I went to take a shower, get ready, and whatever else, get back. Let's see, this is what, at 8:30 in the morning, I started to, again, trade to the downside. Then we had an opportunity to go back in the opposite direction as well. And this was all done with a 1-minute chart, but having the guidance of the 30 and 1 hour on both sides. Okay, now when I use the 1-minute chart, I use it during the US session when the setups are fairly clean and the energy being released has momentum to it, especially, for example, this right here is at 9 o'clock in the morning coming to the zone after it has failed to break to the upside. All this is doing 8:30 to 9 o'clock is back testing and then failing to the pivot point and also to the 1 hour support. So you take profits again and then you see it bounce back again. It's just that it's not as clean because now this is lunch hours. But after that, we get the news event that happens, and then this thing goes crazy. So you still have the issue that you have resistance and support. You haven't broken out of this. So if you trade this type of stuff, you must be aware that you must be taking profits as you come to the zones, because otherwise they will disappear. Because nothing is changed. We're still in a sandwich between the 30 and the 1 hour. Nothing's changed. So I traded this, but I took my profits. I did not wait for them to disappear. Okay, or expect that price was going to go to the moon. No, I still have two MAC tracks against each other, fighting each other. So this, it gives you a trading range, but it doesn't tell you this is going to go to the moon. No, it's not. It's not going to, because you are stuck in between the rock and a hard place. So that's the explanation as to why I did what I did. Why am I shorting from up here, or why am I buying from down there? You know, what time frame am I using? I'm paying attention to my surroundings. I got support on the bottom, resistance on the top, and price going from side to side. This is like playing pool. You're on one side of the table, you had the 30 minutes. On the other side of the table, you had the 1 hour. The ball is going from one edge to the other. And that's practically the way it goes. From time to time, you'll have balls in the middle that move things around, but eventually gets there. You just have to understand what's going on, and potentially you enter at the proper times, utilizing the swing arms to guide you along the way. So for example, when it came down to the 1 hour support, which held multiple hours, then when you get a bullish swing arm, you ride it to the opposite side, and then you take profits, and then you either wait it out, or take the short right there and put the stop above the high. So it's a matter of preference. You know, it depends on your confidence level, and it depends on your bank account.
So swing arm breakdown.
Okay, so let me turn off this alert so they don't interfere. Okay, so I'm going to, if you don't have any questions about the 6 charts, I'm going to go to the lower time frames. Okay, so the one thing I ask you to do when you look at the higher time frames, as you move the mouse, pay attention to where price is in the other time frames, to see if there is any, for example, trend line. As you follow price, for example, follow it and look at the other charts. For example, in this case, as I'm doing this, pay attention to the 2 hour chart and look at the white line on the 2 hour chart. It's respected, then it drops back down to support. The pivot point bounces back up close to the white line, fails, and turns back over. Why? Because we're stuck between the two of them. They're both strong time frames. They're both strong, and unless one of them breaks initially, either to the upside or downside, we will not know in what direction we're going to head. So I'm happy trading 40 points up or down, or 20 points up or down, 30 points up or down. I got no problem if I'm able to get out $60 on a day that is only moved 24. I'll do it every day, and this system allows you to do it. In the meantime, some of you are looking for more and more and more indicators to tell you what to do. And not indicators going to tell you what to do with the clarity that this will do it, of course, if you learn to read it. Okay, so let's go forward and let's take a look at this maximized screen of the 1 hour, because this is the basis of my focus on paying attention. Where is price potentially coming to and bouncing from? Okay, so this could not be any clearer. Now, notice that now, after closing, now we're getting a full candle below the blue line. So we're still at the support of the swing arm, but this is showing weakness here. Well, does this mean this is going to break? I have no idea, and I really don't care. Why? Because I look for clarity on my entries, and that's what this system will do. Tomorrow morning, I'll get up, check it out. If everything lines up, I'll enter. If not, I'll sit back and do nothing. There's no need for me to race or run after a trade in any one direction. I just wait until I can see things line up, and it agrees with trend lines. It agrees with the swing arm. Here's my support and resistance levels. Hey, let's go for it. I would not be surprised this comes and tests the daily support and then bounce back. But I'm not going to guess. It's already 4:06 p.m. for me. The day is done. I don't give a damn what the market does at this point in time. I'm done. So let me go and then let's look at the 1 minute chart, and let's take a look at the 1 minute chart. So let's go back in time to 3 o'clock in the morning, and it could not be any clearer. So up here, let me 1 minute before I do this. Let me go back, and I want to add the boxes to the higher time frames. Are you seeing my 6 charts right now? I don't. Anybody?
No, just the one.
No, just the hourly chart.
The hourly chart. Yeah, this is the 6th grade. Okay, so what I'm going to go back to the 30-minute chart, and then I'll show you. So right here, you see this right here. So, but since sometimes some of you may have only one monitor, I'm just going to draw this box up here, and that is my 30-minute chart on top. And then on the bottom, let me 1 second. Let me go back, and actually I want to use the default drawing. So I'll draw that on top. Then when I go back to the 1 hour, then I'm going to do the same thing on the 1 hour. And I'll draw this right here. Okay. So if I go back to the 30 minutes, that's my range of motion for price between the two walls, the 30 and the 1 hour. Okay, and price gets to it, rejects it, comes back to the zone. In this case, as I took this trend line and the some other trend line I was looking at in one of the other time frames, bounced back, came back again, tested the zone nicely, went back up, went back down, tested the zone again. It's not easy to break a 1 hour chart. So this may take a couple of times and see if it's going to confirm or not. In the meantime, you get to ride it in both directions, either going long or shorting, or going long again, or shorting or going long again. Most people that trade for the scalping purposes, it's quite a challenge to do this effectively. The swing arms allow you to do it very well with significant moves, not just $1 or $2. No, you get $10 or $20 or $10 or $20 in multiple directions, multiple times a day. So as you become able, as you learn to read this, you should be able to, on a $20 move day, to take out $60 off the market per contract. So this is huge. Do you want to take the time to learn it? You want to take the time to go through the videos and do your homework? You might as well do that. It would pay for itself 100 times over, 1,000 times over. Certainly more than what you pay for the subscription of this VIP service, which could not be more practically as a gift. So there is no value anywhere that I know of that brings you this forward. So take your time, do your homework, and get to work. And I guarantee you'll make money. Will it take effort? Yes, indeed. Of course it'll take effort. But don't expect everybody else to do it. You need to do the work. You need to do the work. And that's the beauty of this. You'll find people that guide you in the right direction. Here's the flashlight going that direction. So go sit down, get in your computer and do the homework. If you don't have monitors, I suggest you get them, assuming you plan to do this as a business. If this is a hobby, then let us know so we don't respond.
Hey, somebody has to start out as a hobby, right? You can't make it a business right away.
This is a really serious business where you can make some serious amount of money. And here you have a ton of information available to you for free that is just priceless. This is priceless. So do your homework. Truly, your children, your wife, or your husband will thank you as you become a successful trader. and not someone that's going to trade for a week or a month and then blow up the account. No, you will potentially trade for a week, for a month, for 6 months, for a year, and grow the account to the point that you become knowledgeable, and then you can transfer that information to somebody else.
Hey Jose, this is VSR. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, so if you look at that, white line, right, around 18. I don't know what is that 18 stands for, but so the price is going in a it is in the sell zone, so it's not in the buy zone, but it crossed that white line. So can we buy there?
You're talking about up here?
Yeah, a little below that solid white line, dotted white line. No, below,
Here?
below. No. Little below. Yeah, that line. So once the price cross that line, so
This is
even though it is on,
this is the pivot point. This is the
yeah,
neutral point of price.
yeah. So once that pivot point is crossed, can I take the entry? So even though it is on a downtrend, to ride up to the max.
No, you must use a lower time frame swing arm to go along. I based on this alone, all I can tell you, my resistance is here, my support is down here, but my entry is going to be dictated by the lower time frame.
Okay.
So this is going to guide me to give me a sense of how big of a pool table do I have to work with. Then I go to my 1 minute chart to see how that's looking. So let me pull that up. So here it is. Here's the 30 minutes on top. This is when I got up in the morning. It's 3 o'clock right here. I got to the computer here, and what happens? Price, it tells me buy support against the wall. So do you buy resistance? No, you don't buy resistance. So I said, okay, I'm going to sell this. And I sold it at 23.24 at the peak. Then when this came down over here, broke down and back tested, then I sold it again at 32.22. Okay. Why did I sell this one? Because this is zone 4 of the 30 minutes. And I sold this one because it's zone 4 of the 1 minute chart, confirming this.
If you sell at 32.22, right? So after sell resistance alert came, so your stop loss will be the 32.27.
The stop loss here, initially I put it behind this level.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll just go back to my 30-minute chart to see what the top was, and I hide myself. I hide myself behind the levels. Once this measures here and confirms this resistance, then my stop is just right now. I bring all 6 contracts stop to just above the high, and then let this work itself out. As they start to drop, then my stops get to break even plus, and then allow this to move and move and move and move. We eventually close down here, exactly around here. Okay. So I took all 6 contracts all the way down here. So as you continue forward, this is support down here. What happens? Well, it starts bouncing back in the opposite direction, gives you a buy. If you didn't enter at the bottom, if you don't enter here, you can enter the back test. What was resistance before now became support. And price bounces and continues higher until it finds resistance and turns over. Then it gives you another sales bucket that you can sell. It goes all the way to zone 3 and drops and continues to where? Support. What happens on support? 1 hour support. Well, price turns around and goes back up. So I turn around, buy it again. Now this is lunch hour, so it takes way longer for this to occur. But then as the news happen, it skyrockets, and where does it stop? At the 30 minutes. So this kind of stuff you need to understand that it's just not going to go to the roof because you have a wall up here and a wall down here. So you just have to take profits in one direction or the other, and as you continue.
So what is that solid blue line? Is it the 30-minute resistance?
No, this is the auto trend lines. Auto trend lines, and they are in everything I shared with you guys. The settings on this are 400, 250. This I updated yesterday because I'm constantly studying my charts. And
what does that 400, 200, 500 means? What does it mean?
This is 3 channels. Let me go back to minimize this and go to my other chart. Where is it here? This is the 30 minutes. So here, this 30 minutes is the same tool that's giving me automatically drawing the trend. Notice how exact this thing is.
The periods are the look back period. So 400 means 400 bars back.
Correct. 400, 200, 100 in this 30 minutes. In the lower time frame, 1 minute, I'll use 400, 250, 50 here. Regardless, this is all just a matter of you taking the time and number one, understanding the tool. What is it that is it doing? It's looking back in time, a number of candles back, and drawing automatically the channel. So you can play around with the settings, and whatever you're comfortable with is fine with me. What I do is that you need to copy it now. It's up to you. You want to change it, go at it. And I personally will study my charts and go back in time and say, okay, you know what? Maybe instead of 50, 100 is better. Or maybe instead of 400, 500 is better. So it's a matter of trial and error. You check it out, you draw it, you go back and review in time and see, does this look like exactly what I want? Let's go to the 1 hour chart. And the 1 hour chart gives me a very good sense of the range of price. It supports itself with the swing arms itself. It guides me along the way to have a sense of where price potentially will turn. And then the swing arms do the rest.
I just want to say something really quick. It is important for you guys to note that the swing arm and the average price movements are still the primary indicators. You see that Jose is using more than those two, but you must understand the concepts and the basic ideas of the first 2 indicators first before you add more indicators into your setup. That if you add more than those 2 primary indicators, it's gonna create more it's gonna make it more difficult for you guys to understand the swing arm first of all and the average price movement. So understand how those 2 works first before you add more indicators to your chart.
Let me explain. I noticed that the comment about this trend lines right here are just channels, basic 2-line channels that are automatically created. Okay, so that you get an understanding. So now I also use regression channels, which is a separate drawing set that I can turn on and off by just shifting from one to the other. Okay, so if I go to my regression channel, that gives me a completely different view of the way I see price. Okay, so let me just go forward to a 4-hour chart and take a look at the regression channel, because that to me is priceless as well. Let me remove all the indicators from here so you don't get confused with anything. Okay, so right now on the top we have the 30 minutes, on the bottom we have the 1 hour. Okay, let me duplicate this since this is a different set, drawing set. I'll put it there so I know what the range of price is. And let me then minimize this and look back in time. Let me add more days to this. So this channel is not too long. It's only so from 4/7 or so that I started to track. And this is a regression channel. This has a specific settings that I've shared before in different sessions that if you are to use, it has to be a RAF channel. It cannot be anything else. Cannot be a standard deviation, cannot be any of the other options in here, because it's not going to display the way mine does. If I'm assuming you want to copy what I have, you need to follow that. And then it's actually pretty easy to implement, because automatically, let me just delete it, and notice how simple it is to recreate it. Okay, you draw it. Let me go back. I think I was a little bit farther back. Activate, move back a little. And all I'm trying to do is to have confirmations of touches at the bottom, touches at the top, touches at the bottom. This one is off a little bit, so let me adjust it a little bit. Let's see. Oops, I moved the side. The beauty of this, that this is, I do not use the regression channel as the decision maker for the entry. This to me is a visual that gives me that adds to the channel a statistical analysis. Because the first two set of lines are 1 standard deviation apart, and the extremes are 1.5 standard deviations apart. And if you look at the data, you realize, that 88% of data will stay within the 1.5% standard deviation. Once it breaks above it, it has the potential of breaking and continuing in the direction of the trend, in this case to the upside. So right now it attempted to break it multiple times, and let's zoom in into that. And this is all 4-hour channel, 4-hour candles. So you break above it, but now we're back again into it. So it's very possible that price may come back to back test this blue line or red line right here at 31.64. Would not surprise me if it does that tonight. If it breaks back into the channel, then this channel becomes a possibility. If I go back in time, we only have 1 touch here and 1 touch here, and then the break. So it's not something that it's not like a hugely tested line. So it may break, it may not break. I really don't know, and I don't care to know. That's the one thing you must understand about trading. And that's the problem I believe most people will have, is that you want to know what the price is going to do. I really don't give a damn what the price is going to do. If I were to try to predict what price is going to do, I would never be able to make a proper decision. So my only objective is to have my trading edge and identify it every time it occurs. So what is my trading edge? My trading edge is the setup of a swing arm. I don't care what time frame it is, but it is a high probability entry every time it occurs. And where is the high probability? Well, number one, it has to break. It has to be a freshly broken swing arm. Number two, it has to come into my zones, either zone 2, 3, or 4. The deeper it goes into the zone, the better the entry. And that's what happened today, for example, on the 10-minute chart. Of course, this was a news-driven event, which is the reason why it moved up so quickly, hit the wall, and came back down. Okay? But still, the process of coming back down gives you an opportunity to buy it again, because it's scaring everybody out. And the minute it went all the way to 100% retracement into the 10-minute bucket, what did it do? It bounced back up, 10, 15, 20, 50 points, whatever it was. So you get to move that. And of course, you also know you have a wall just ahead of you. So you have to take profits. So it guides you along the way. It went from support to resistance multiple times. Okay? So hopefully you put your mind around, number one, doing drawing sets. One is the default that does not have the regression channel, and it has the swing arm and the basic outro trend channels that get drawn automatically. Their regression channel you draw yourself. And you must learn to do it. It's pretty simple. All you're looking for is an anchor on the bottom, an anchor on the top, an anchor on the bottom, and confirmation of price coming to it and hugging it at the middle. But for example, right here, just this confirms the price action within the channel. So this confirms that the one standard deviation bounce from one side to the other is very likely, and when it gets to it, it responds. It doesn't break it, just that simple. It responds by reacting to it away from it, giving you constant opportunities to go in one direction or the other. And most of the times you get trends that are significant in nature where you don't have to be thinking about scalping. Throw the scalping thought out of your mind, because you're completely eliminating the opportunity. You're focusing on the dollar, on pennies, and not on the dollar. All these moves are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, $70. So don't just focus on, oh, I'm going to make $1 here or $1 there. And then you're stressed out every time the market goes in one direction or the other, because you're risking more to make the dollar. And I'm making just general assumptions. I really don't know what you're doing, but in general terms, that's usually what people will do, especially when they're new. Let me scalp here and scalp there. But then you realize that later, oh man, I wish I had stayed in the trade longer. Well, it moved $30, I only got 2 or 3. Or even if it is $5, when it moved 40, it's painful. Because you were impatient, or you didn't know, or whatever the excuse is, just that's the way it is. Anyway, so I'm going to go back to the 1 minute chart, and then we can take a look at that. Where was it here? This one, yeah. So going back to this, let's see what time this is. Where am I? This was 9 o'clock. So this was this morning. So I already went through this. I mean, this is very, very clear. I got the wall up there. This is red. Sell resistance. You sell the resistance. Sell the resistance. Draw your boxes. Realize where the walls are between higher time frames. And then you take the 2 minute, the 1 minute chart. It broke down. Sell it. And you stay in that trade as long as this thing is red. Now, that's when you don't know how to read the balance of the charts. But if you're looking at the balance of the charts with the trend lines and information, which I don't have in here, you would then determine, okay, this is going to be the point where I'm going to take profits. And you take your profits, and if it goes bullish, if you are comfortable taking the trade here, you can take it. If not, allow it to come back into the zone, then take it. And your stop is below the swing arm. So this gives you the guidance to tell you where your stops go. You're not guessing at anything. The system is telling you you should be behind this green line, in this case, a couple dollars. Once this moves, then you can neutralize the trade if you're uncomfortable, and then let it ride. Then as you start to see this resistance, all these hours, the 9 o'clock is coming. What happens after 9 o'clock? New people comes in, new set of buyers and sellers. It breaks down. What does it do? It back tests. What happens after that? It just drops. To where? To the support. So that's it. That tells the whole story. So anybody has any questions? Nobody. Everybody knows everything. Fantastic. I'm really good at this.
You make it, hey Jose, you make it sound so easy, but it is a little complicated.
Well,
There's a question for you in the chat.
okay. Well, did you hear what I said initially? You start with your 6 charts to get a sense of where price is, okay? So you have the big teams, I guess, the 30-minute on the top, the 1 hour on the bottom, and the little ones in the middle, okay? If price reaches all the way to the 30 minutes, which is the big guy, that one has a lot of more energy than the 1, the 2, the 5, or the 10 in pushing me in the opposite direction, which is the next big guy that's going to stop the 30. It's going to have to be the 1 hour chart. The little guys in between will get pushed around every time. So you must get your mind around of who are the big players today. For every session, you need to know, where am I? Am I going with everybody in the same direction, like we have been going in the past? Or now do we have a topping pattern process in which we may have a 30 on top and a 1 hour on the bottom? That's exactly where we are. We're sandwiched in between the two. Now, if I'm going all the way to the extreme of the top, which is the zone 4 of the 30-minute chart, and then the day before I was all the way at zone 2 or 3 of the 1 hour, and I'm going back to the 30 on top. Well, the ones in the middle do not have enough energy to stop me in one direction or the other. The big guys have the ball, and they're going to push you in that direction. So if that is the case, for example, I will go to the 1 minute chart and take the entry for the 1 minute chart, because I'm doing it with the 30 behind me. So the slingshot has been fully charged. The rubber band has been pulled all the way to the 30. And when this is released, what happens? It just goes all the way to the opposite side until it finds the support, which sends it back up. So here it is. So we go back again all the way to the 1 hour, and it goes in the opposite direction. So you have to, there's nothing written in stone. That's the problem that happens to most people, that you want to know exactly, I'm going to push 1, 2, 3, and the money is there. 1, 2, 3, and the money is there. So, and that is not the case. There has to be an understanding of the fact that price works in waves, and each wave has a different level of energy. So if I'm now stuck between the 1 hour and 30 minutes, the little waves in the middle will be pushed around by the bigger waves. And that's what happened. So in my analysis, when I got up in the morning, I said, I start with my 30. Where am I on the 30? Right away at the max of zone 4. I'm closing. I'm selling it right now. I mean, I haven't even had my coffee. I put the order right there. I don't have to think about it. It's very mechanical. I'm at zone 4, 30-minute chart. I'm putting the trade. It's a high probability trade, high risk reward, and perfect timing. So I hope that answers your question. Anybody else?
Oh, Jose is pretty good.
Okay, it works. It works extremely well. And of course, some of you are extremely new, and it's going to be very confusing because you don't have an understanding. But if you start with the basic stuff of going to the charts like this, and then start to pay attention to where price has been in the past. So notice if I were to draw this box all the way back here, you can just see it. Here, it broke support, it broke support, it broke support, it broke support. Got to resistance, back to support. Resistance, back to support. Resistance, back to support. We're playing pool from one side of the table to the other, constantly. So that's what you have to visualize in your mind. Where is price in relationship to my pool table? It's not a 1 minute, 2 minute, 10 minute, 5 minute. No. What's the full range of price action from the top to the bottom? And then how am I at the extreme of the 30, or am I at the extreme of the 1 hour? Look what happened when we went to the extreme of the 30. This is before the 30 actually broke, but we were all the way up here, and then went back down to the opposite side. So this creates the box. So now you have a predetermined box that you can trade for the next day or two from one side to the other. I hope that helps out in understanding what I'm talking about. Okay, and I mean, you can see it in every time frame. It's telling you, okay, this is all the buy zones right here, and you know it days in advance. I don't need to look at volume profile. I need to look at anything. It's all right there, and it's telling me days in advance. That to me is priceless. Priceless. Gives me the ability to go to the bank and cash in a $10,000 check every day. You could do the same thing. Implement the process by just taking the time to educate yourself. Now let's take 2 steps back. Don't think that I'm taking it, literally taking a $8,000 check to the bank. What you see today is taking me 5 years to study and come up with. Of course, as the last 2 years it moved faster, and the last year better. But I'm not taking the $10,000 to the bank. I'm doing it in my mind. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. If you don't, I want you to watch The Secret 10 times. Then you'll see it for yourselves. And I know your minds will tell you, I'm not doing that crap. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing the other, or whatever. You make choices, and those choices will help you get the results you get today. Anybody, any questions? We can go.
Can you share that regression channel setting one more time? I will just make a note.
Okay, let me, actually, I will post on the chat the settings.
Okay.
The on Discord, I'll put them on Discord so that everybody can have it after the call. Anything
Can you do the same with the trend line values?
400, 250. 400, 250.
Not that one. The other one where you have,
the regression channel, the settings will be on this screenshot that I give you. Got it? Or you still have a doubt?
Can you go to that 4-hour chart and right click on that regression channel properties?
Right there. I'll send you this picture. I'm going to send you this exact picture.
Okay. Yeah. This is what I'm looking for. Thank you.
I'm just trying to get to my Discord, but it's not. There it is. Let me post it because I have it already saved. Right here. Where did it go? So I just posted it on the Discord, the exact settings of the regression channel. Now, the regression channel, so that you're clear, notice that there are several more curves that I do not use on the lower time frame. I only use this one on a weekly chart. Okay, the light blue. So when I do my long-term analysis, I bring those on. And that's specifically for a weekly chart. So that you understand. Let's see if this is kind of slow today. Let me go, I need more time for this. Let me go to 15 years.
Hey, Jose, this is recorded, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we're gonna have to edit a few of the bad words. Okay, so this is ES. So this has just been not that exciting here, but let's try, for example, let me see if I can go back more time. Oh, and the reason I don't have enough time is because this is the micro. So I'm gonna go to regular ES. And let's see how far we go there. Come on.
Jose, is there a setting that allows drawing a box in one window appear in the other window, or is that by default?
By default. By default. So for example, if I'm looking at this long term, starting back here, before the drop, this would have been my channel right there. Notice that since there was a recent change to toss, it messes up my channels. It gets wider at the bottom and narrower on the top. This was never the case until just recently. I don't know what the hell they did. I just wish they didn't do that. So it forces me to use a smaller channel to do my analysis, which I don't like, but I have no choice. So let's go back and go to a daily chart and then add more time to that quickly. See that channel. Okay, so let's go back in time and see that. So what I do with this, oh, what happened? Maria. So it allows me to see a price action as I drop down, assuming that, let's say we were back in this time, September or whatever this time was. As I drill down into my 2-hour charts or 4-hour charts, it gives me the ranges that the weekly has already set for price range movement. Now, notice that once the channel is broken here, where does it go to? To the 100% of the 1.5 standard deviations. What happens after that? It back tests perfectly to the channel border. Then it breaks down. Then it back tests, break down, back test, and collapses. 2018. So the minute the channel is broken like this, then I start drawing a new channel from the high to wherever that's going, and start to adjust it over time until I have a pattern that I keep. And as it breaks out of it, then you start another one, and you just delete the prior ones. So that's how that works. But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack with that. That's a part of it process. Okay, so anyway, are we pretty much done? You guys got all your questions answered?
I think we all set.
Awesome. I'll be back in the morning.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jose.
All right, fellas. Oh, let me stop the recording before I close it, because that's the mistake I always make if I close it too quickly. Stop recording. Yes.
Awesome.
Save it. Save it to the cloud. There it goes.